really good point. And if you have a chat, that my colleague Laura can yell out the question to us. So I did just one general one for statistics, and I just want to show you, like, remember, like, when you think of a Springer database versus a ProQuest database, all of your students use these constantly, right? Well, in this case, they all look even more different because they're open access and they're all over the world. But I've had professors actually go in and find like in the Saylor introductory statistics book, and you can actually download the entire full text. It gives you the plum metrics, which is like the rating for that book. I'm just going to drag my the browser down, so you can see the usage, the views, etc. But the other great thing about this is that the cool thing is that when you go into Galileo and you look for that book, whatever it may be, you can also have your students just read it online. And that's one of the biggest interesting things that I've found. My own students, I have some OER materials that I use, and they'll read it on their phones. I mean, I don't know if you have any students in your classes, they'll read it on their iPads. So that link to full text, you can actually just embed that into your Canvas course and make it really, really simple and simplified so that they don't feel like they have to download and take up memory on their computer. Another example, pardon my English, anthropology. In any case, I'm going to go back to just the general screen and talk about Merlot. Merlot's a big proponent, and the cool thing about this one is I just wanted to put it in education, right? And let's say you're talking about the education like of nursing, or the education of resume building and resume development. The really nice thing about Merlot is another repository is that if you actually look here, you can limit by material type, much like in the library, right? But this is going all over the world, and it's looking, and you can pull assignments, case studies. You can also look at the top and filter by discipline. So I think like sometimes as professors over the age of 20, we're kind of at a disadvantage sometimes because most of our students are already doing this. You know, you ask a student to find an article, they could find it in 2 seconds, whether it's the right one or appropriate, you know, that's the question that they have to answer. But we can pull here just education, meaning the field of education, and all of a sudden you get 12,000 results that are like educational law to general education and teachers. So it just shows you how advanced we've become in society with online learning. You know what I mean? And I think we would agree. The other options, if I go into, Lumen Learning's a great one. And you'll notice that I'm staying COAS, but you can really go through multiple ones because the topics, this was Laura's idea, one of my colleagues over in the audience. And she said, why don't you put the topics listed for every single one so that in effect, they'll know what it is. You know, we used to have like just Galileo in general, but it is a really great idea. One option with Lumen Learning, and the other thing is sometimes professors want one book. This is like my favorite thing. How many of us would love to have a novel where every chapter was the best chapter, right? It probably is never going to happen, right? So unless you're like, it's a series and it's just your favorite author. But for instance, you can look, Lumen Learning is one of my favorites. And the reason why is because it categorizes. And by doing so, you can look here, you have public speaking, you have English composition, 1 and 2. And the nice thing about this is, and I've used this many times with professors, is that if you actually go into the course, you can actually see there's like these new things called courseway makers. I would say it wrong. Or if you can't find it, the other great thing about Lumen Learning is you can just Google, pardon me, if you can remember the name, it will guess what you're looking for. And sometimes what you do is you end up finding the textbooks that basically you can pull specific chapters alone. So explore the course, or you can in effect, pardon me, pull each chapter individually. All right, onwards and upwards, as they said in Willy Wonka. With Merlot, the other great thing with that database, I should go back to it. Pardon me. All right, so I also want to point out the difference between the types of materials that you find. There's courseware and like materials that you can use for instruction. There's ebook collections. There's also, depending on the discipline, there's other types of sources like free cleared images. For books, college, or health, like Sarah, what's a repository you've used?
I mean, I've been using iTech sometimes. I don't know if that's readily listed,
Okay.
but that seems to be one that
Have you used MIT courseware at all?
sometimes I do that.
So as a new website, that's kind of cool. That's new. Do you have an example search that we could throw in?
Let's see, there statistics for health, maybe. I know that's something that we're working on right now.
Oh, it's totally cool. See, and so you can see, even like with Sarah and I, like librarians, like we don't have the magic key to everything. You know, I can't build this professor who's in this classroom right now, her class in 2 seconds. It does take time. And the other great thing about it is, if you do work with the librarian and the ID, you can really tailor your course to be exactly what you want it to be. So here, Sarah, this is a great one that you pulled up, because if you're looking at statistics, they have concepts and videos, they have guidelines for teaching at MIT and beyond. And it does, those limiters still do show up, just like they do in the library catalog.